The genesis of Pan-Africanism and its historical perspective. Pan-Africanism is a movement to secure human rights, self-governance, independence, and unity for all African peoples. The spirit of solidarity and collaboration among African societies is ages old, fading and flourishing from the century to the next. Pan-Africanism is therefore it emerged once again at the end of the 18th century as an anti-slavery and anti-colonial movement. Its appeal was both indigenous and international. Africans saw their land invaded by European powers, a scenario that sparked resistance. The African struggle for freedom coincided with the anti-slavery sentiments in Europe and America, among other regions. Its original form, Pan-Africanism, had a wide scope than the geographical continent. It encompasses the African diaspora descendants worldwide, seeking to unify the African people into a single community. Pan-Africanism grew and changed over time, each century adding to its richness and passing it on its legacy to the next. An ethnic, economic, political, and social mosaic. African has struggled with the ambition of a united continent while at the same time being conscious of the deep division within her borders. Along with the vision of oneness are conflicting demands by African sovereign states and regions, involving the mix of stakeholders, policymakers, national legislatures, and citizens of independent countries. Still, for all its twists and turns, the movement embodies a vision of African liberated and united right up to the present day. Therefore, the seeds of Pan-Africanism was way back to the 18th century. It was a period of extraordinary events and accomplishments for Africans who united to revolt against slavery. It was a time of political turmoil. America's Declaration of Independence of 1776, the French Revolution of 1789, Napoleon Bonaparte's ascent to power in France in 1799, and the Haitian Revolution that created the first independent black state, coincided with Napoleon's loss of power. The Pan-African movement started, according to Adi Hakim and Marcia Sherwood, with Africans who were closest to the slave trade at the time. Most had been slaves themselves and had first-hand witness of the kidnapping, purchase, shipping, and enslavement of Africans, whether Anglophone or Francophone. In their writing, speeches, and political activities, they were familiar with the British, French, and American abolitionists. They drew from the French liberation thought known as the Enlightenment in a campaign against the slave trade. An understanding of the importance of education and its place in the liberation struggle was a key hallmark of the movement throughout the 18th and 19th centuries. This is evident in the lives and writings of its leaders. While no short account can cover the careers of all pioneer Pan-Africanists of the era, some political figures stand out. The lives of the early African abolitionists were diverse. They reflected their talent and social circumstances and luck, good or bad. The pioneer of African unity, national independence, and the abolition of slavery never adopted the name Pan-Africanist. The title only came into use in the early 19th centuries. The Pan-Africanists were genuinely engaging in ideas and activities that celebrated the African spirit. They fiercely resisted the exploitation and oppression of racism against Africans. Through unity, Pan-Africanism can be forged into an economic, social, and political destiny. We have some personalities that were the key features in the Pan-Africanism and are named Pan-Africanists. One is Olaudah Equiano, who was a slave trader and was born in 1945 in the village of Esaka in the region and the kingdom of Benin. Then we have Frederick Douglass, who was an African-American abolitionist. African-American abolitionists that participated in this struggle. And he was a writer and a statesman. It is believed that he was born in May in Maryland. After escaping from slavery, he became a leader of the abolitionists and a prolific writer on slavery. We have W.E.B. Du Bois, who was one of the most influential Pan-African intellectuals of the era, a writer and a political activist. His historical research covered African slave trade in America and other areas. Then we also have Kwabena Otoba, who is also known as John Stuart, and was born in 1757 in the villages of Ajumain, modern Ghana. He was also among the key figures. Then we have Toussaint Louverture, who is also perhaps a remarkable of all and slavery in the 18th century. Therefore, what is Pan-Africanism? I wish to talk about the Pan-Africanism, its essence, challenges, achievement, and future pathways. Pan-Africanism is a profound and influential ideology that is rooted in a shared history, culture, struggles, and aspirations of African peoples. It advocates for the unity, solidarity, and self-determination among Africans and people of African descent worldwide. Since its emergence in the late 19th and 20th centuries, Pan-Africanism has inspired liberation movements and influenced policies and fostered a collective identity among Africans and the African diaspora. It is both a philosophical and ideological. It's a philosophical ideology and a political movement that emphasizes the unity and solidarity of African peoples and the African diaspora across the world. It posits that Africans, regardless of their border, ethnicity, and social class, share a collective identity rooted in the common history, struggles against colonialism, slavery, racism, and economic marginalization. The core principles of Pan-Africanism include unity and solidarity. That is, recognizing the interconnectedness of African nations and peoples. We are one irrespective of the boundaries of our nations. That is, the countries within the African continent. Self-determination, empowering Africans to control their political and economic destiny, which has been long under the aegis of the colonialists, have been controlling our political and economic destiny. But Pan-Africanism is against that. That is a core principle. Then we have cultural revival. That is reclaiming the African identity, traditions, and history, which I emphasized yesterday when talking about the intergenerational relay of morality. That is about reclaiming the African identity and traditions and our history. We guard them with our life. Then we have the liberation from colonialism and imperialism. That is ending neo-colonial domination and fostering independence is a core principle. Then economic self-reliance. That is promoting development driven by Africans themselves. The historical roots of Pan-Africanism, its roots are traced back in the 19th century. They are traced back in the 19th century with the early leaders like Henry Sylvester Williams, Bishop Henry Turner, Edward Wilmot Biden, and later we had Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, and Robert Sobukwe shaping its course. The modern relevance of Pan-Africanism. Today, Pan-Africanism continues to inspire movements of unity, economic development, and cultural renaissance, as seen in the institutions like the African Union, AU, and initiatives like the Pan-African Parliament. Constituents of Pan-Africanism. What constitutes Pan-Africanism? We have the essence of Pan-Africanism can be broken down into several fundamental components. Among them, we have one, unity of Africa and its people, the collective identity that transcends national borders and ethnic divisions within Africa. Two, we have solidarity with the African diaspora, recognition of a diaspora role in shaping the African identity and their struggle for justice and equality. Then we have historical consequences, being aware of African history of slavery, colonialization, and resistance and resilience. Then we have another component, cultural revival, promotion of and preservation of indigenous languages, traditions, and arts and philosophies. Then we have political sovereignty, that is advocating for independence, sovereignty, and self-rule of African nations. Then we have economic independence, promotion of Pan-African economic initiatives like the African Continental Free Trade Area, aiming at intra-African trade and self-sufficiency. We have social justice and human rights, combating racism, discrimination, and social inequalities affecting Africans. Educational and ideological rebirth, which is promoting African-centered education that emphasizes African history, philosophies, and achievements. Then we have environmental stewardship, which recognizes Africans' unique ecological challenges and fostering sustainable development. Then we have global engagement that positions Africa as an influential actor on the global stage, advocating for fair international relations. Challenges facing Pan-Africanism, among others, include fragmentation of African states, that is, post-independence borders often ignore ethnic, cultural, and historical ties, leading to conflict and disunity like what was happening between Rwanda and Congo. Then we have neo-colonialism and economic dependency, where external economic influences multinational corporations and international financial institutions perpetuating dependency, undermining the sovereignty. Political instability and corruption is another one, where many African nations suffer from authoritarian regimes, corruption, and fragile institutions, hindering unity and efforts. We have ethnic and regional divisions, where deep-seated ethnic rivalries and regional loyalties undermine the collective identity. Lack of Pan-African consciousness, where many Africans remain more loyal to their nation states than the Pan-African ideals. Then we have limited Pan-African institutions and institutions' effectiveness. Organizations like the AU often lack enforceable power or resources to implement Pan-African visions. Then cultural alienation, Western media and education system tend to diminish African culture identities, eroding the pride and unity. Then we have economic disparities, widening inequality that hampers collective efforts for development. We have external interventions. Foreign military and political intervention sometimes undermine the sovereignty and Pan-African goals. Achievement of Pan-Africanism. Despite challenges, Pan-Africanism has yielded notable achievements. Among others, one, decolonization and independence movements. Pan-Africanism ideal inspired liberation struggles against Africa, across Africa, like in Algeria, Ghana, Angola, Zimbabwe, and others. We have a formation of African institutions like the Organization of African Union, OAU, of 1963. That is the precursor to the AU, African Union, of 2001, fostering continental cooperations. Then we have Pan-African Congress that is held periodically. This is gathering have unified leaders and activists on issues of sovereignty, development, and cultural revival. That is also promotion of African identity through revival of indigenous languages, arts, and philosophy. Then we have economic integration initiatives, where African Continental Free Trade Area, the largest free trade area agreement in the world, aiming to boost the intra-African trade. And new Pan-African financial institutions like the African Development Bank is also one of the achievements. And we also have diplomatic unity, where African states increasingly coordinate positions within the United Nations and other international bodies. We also have the cultural renaissance, the resurgence of African arts, music, fashion, and literature, promoting pride and global recognition. We have the renaissance of the external domination, that is the continental leaders like Nkrumah, Nyerere, Sankara, that championed independence from neo-colonial influence. Pan-African solidarity in crisis, like the unified responses to conflict, health crisis like Ebola, and economic shocks. Then we have educational and philosophical revival, where research centers and universities focus on African philosophy, history, and sciences. How to improve and motivate the spirit of Pan-Africanism? One, we need to incorporate African history, philosophies, and achievements into the school curricula to foster pride and awareness. Two, we have cultural revival and pride. We need to promote indigenous languages, arts, traditions through media, festival, and institutions. Then we have economic self-reliance. We need to develop intra-African trade industries and resource management to reduce dependence on external powers. Number 4, we need to have political unity and cooperation. That is, strengthen continental organizations like the African Union, ensuring enforceable policies and mutual defense. Then we have the leadership and development, where we need to mentor new generations of Pan-African leaders committed to unity and development. We also need to have use of technology, that is, leverage social media and the digital platforms to connect activists, spread Pan-African ideas, and mobilize support. Number 7 is transnational movements, where we need to support Pan-African youth movements, civil society, and diaspora organizations. This is very key because the youths are the future leaders of our continent. Promotion of Pan-African values globally by engaging in global activities to advocate for African interest and solidarity. Then also addressing the socio-economic inequalities by implementing policies that reduce poverty, improve education, and promote health across the continent. Then fostering a shared vision by creating a collective narrative that emphasizes common destiny, resilience, and pride. What about the global perception and treatment of Pan-Africanists? The Western perspective is, historically, Western power viewed Pan-Africanists as threats to imperial interests, often suppressing their movements. Today, some Western scholars recognize Pan-Africanism as a vital force for social justice, but still sometimes underestimate its potential. 2. African governments. Many leaders have used Pan-African rhetoric to consolidate power, but often with mixed motives, sometimes emphasizing unity while suppressing dissent and regionalism. That is, after getting power, they change. International organizations, the UN and other multinational bodies, acknowledges Pan-African efforts, but often lack the political will or resources to fully support the continental integration. Then African diaspora communities, especially in the Caribbean, the US and Europe, see Pan-Africanism as a means of reconnecting with ancestral roots and fighting the racial injustice, while other continents like Asia and Latin America admire Pan-African movements for its anti-colonial roots and often seek to emulate its principles of solidarity. Then Europe and North America sometimes view Pan-Africanism skeptically, questioning its practicality or suspecting racial motives, but increasingly recognize its role in global social justice. The non-racial, ethnic, and regional approaches to Pan-Africanism is to ensure Pan-Africanism transcends racial and ethnic divides. It must evolve beyond identity politics. The universal humanism is also a factor where we focus on shared human values, dignity, justice, equality, rather than race and ethnicity. Common factors and interests. We need to develop an intra-Africa trade that benefits all regions equitably, reducing the regional disparities. Then we have the environmental unity, where we need to address climate change and ecological challenges collectively, recognizing Africans' shared vulnerability. Then we have the cultural pluralism that promotes respect for diversity and encourages regional and ethnic cultures to coexist with a unified identity. Then Pan-African consciousness as a civil identity, where we need to create inclusive narratives emphasizing citizenship, shared identity, and continental pride. Then we have a shared infrastructure and connectivity. We need to develop transcontinental transportation, communication, and energy corridors. We also need a unified diplomatic front that will coordinate positions in global governance, trade negotiations, and peacekeeping. Then we have regional integration that will strengthen regional bodies like ECOWAS, SADC, and EAC as building blocks for continental unity. We have educational exchange programs that will promote student and scholar exchanges to foster shared knowledge and understanding. We also need to have a technology and innovation collaboration that will joint research initiatives and innovations, hubs in the sustainable development, philosophical ideologies to build and maintain spirit of Pan-Africanism. Among others, we have the Ubuntu of the South African that emphasizes communalism, compassion, and interconnectedness. Then we have the African humanism, which focuses on dignity, respect, and collective well-being. We also have the African traditional wisdom that values ancestral knowledge and indigenous philosophies. We need to have the decolonial thought, where challenges on colonial mentalities and promotes indigenous epistemologies. Then we have post-colonial theory that analyzes and resists colonial legacies. We need to have a liberation philosophy that emphasizes emancipation from oppression. Then we also need to have African feminism that advocates for gender equality rooted in the African contexts. We need to have the eco-philosophy that promotes harmony with nature and sustainable development. Then Pan-African Marxism, which seeks economic justice through collective ownership. Then we have African spirituality that recognizes spiritual traditions as sources of identity. Then we have Afrocentrism, which recenters African history and culture. Then we have existentialism that emphasizes individual agency and authority. We have feminism, feminist humanism, which advocates for gender justice within African societies. And we have cultural pluralism that values diversity within unity. Postmodernism that challenges dominant narratives and promotes plurality. Radical democracy that calls for inclusive political participation. We have indigenous knowledge and systems that incorporate local wisdom into development. Then we have sustainable development that balances economic growth and ecological health. We have global justice that advocates fairness and international relations. Then 20, we have dialogic philosophy that encourages dialogue among cultures and peoples. Therefore, in a nutshell, Pan-Africanism remains a vital and evolving ideology rooted in Africa's shared history, struggles, and aspiration. Despite the obstacles like the fragmentation, economic dependency, and external interference, it has achieved significant milestones in liberations, unity, and cultural revival. To ensure its future relevance and growth, Africa must foster education that emphasizes continental identity, develop intra-Africa economic initiatives, and promote philosophies rooted in communal values, justice, and resilience. Therefore, as Africans, either living in African continent or outside, that is African diaspora, we are rooted, we are together, we are brotherhood. We must support this Pan-Africanism with all our life. We must consider humanism that traverses all the borders and boundaries of our nations, so that we leave a legacy. We transcend this segregation.